All right, so final workout of the 6th week of the fall cut. So we'll start with the Bible verse of the day, as always, which comes from Psalm chapter 18, verse 2. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. So to really, sum this up, as I've said many times before, God and Jesus have to be, the number one main priority in our lives, and we have to put all of our trust in them, put all of our faith in them, and once we do that, it opens countless doors to true happiness and true joy, and to really getting the most out of the lives that God has given us. So with that being said, workout wise, Calves and Arms as always on Saturdays. I haven't posted a workout since last leg day, which was on Monday this past week. Just the workouts, the past couple workouts, chest and shoulders and back. The workouts themselves were pretty sloppy. We had to change up a couple different variations of movements that we did. I tweaked my back literally on a rest day. I was just throwing a ball around my yard with my dogs. I guess just rotated my hips too much. I had deadlifted the day before on Monday for legs, and I guess my back was already pretty tight in the hips and the hip flexors as well. So straighten the hip flexor, and the lower back's also pretty tight. So have to just manage that and let that heal and get better. So I'm gonna do different variations of movements where there's less stress on my lower back and my hip flexors. Just for the movements that use those a lot more than others. So like for arms, whenever we do the seated incline curls, I think I'm gonna lay off of those for today. We're gonna do some kind of cable curls to get that deep stretch, and then for the preacher curls, when I lean forward a lot to do those, that'll put a lot of stress on the lower back. So instead of that, I might just do a few sets of the cable curls. I don't know. I'm going to kind of feel things out when I get in there, and we'll make the right adjustments and do what we need to do. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in there for the lift. All right, so we'll start with calves as always, and with the calf raise machine, we'll just do one warm-up set and then one top set to failure, finishing with partials within that 15 to 30 rep range. So working with the same weight as the last time we did this last week. So just looking to get more reps, which we did. So with keeping intensity the main factor, with progressive overload, with every movement we're either trying to get more reps or upping the weight. So that is what the mindset is. All right, so now we'll get into arms, and we'll start with triceps as always. So with the V-bar pushdowns, we jumped up in weight this week from 210 to 220 on the stack. So again, making the right progressions we need to, even though we're on the cut. And so whenever I jump up in weight, I'm really expecting to get between 4 to 6 reps, fail within that range. But we're still aiming for that 5 to 9 rep range. But for the most part, since I've been so consistent with it and have, made the right adjustments, made the right progressions within reasonable time frames, I kind of expect what to do, but at the same time, I'm not counting in my head. So I'll just do one warm-up set and then 2 top sets to failure, finishing with partials within that 5 to 9 rep range. Alright, so our second movement for triceps is going to be the over-exaggerated skull crushers. So we'll do one warm-up set and then two top sets again to failure, finishing with partials within that 5 to 9 rep range. So with these, as you guys can see, when I say over-exaggerated, the reason why I say that is we're going behind the head and staying in that lengthened position and not coming up all the way as you would in a traditional skull crusher. This is going to put a lot more tension specifically on the long head of the tricep, so that is what we're mainly targeting with this exercise. Alright, so we'll get into biceps and forearms next, and as I mentioned in the introduction, I've been dealing with a strained hip flexor and some lower back issue, so I don't want to do any movements to where I'm leaning forward a lot with my upper body. So if I would have drew the preacher hammer curls, I would be doing that. It'd be too much stress on my lower back and my hip flexors. So just a variation of that is going to be these upright seated or seated upright dumbbell hammer curls. So again, same concept, just a different variation of hammer curls. So these felt really, really good. And yeah, did what we needed to do, made the right adjustments, but same thing as always, one warm-up set and then one top set to failure, finishing with partials within that 5 to 9 rep range. All right, so a movement that I'm going to sub back into my routine. I was doing this before I even started recording my workouts. These single arm cable curls, I was doing these back whenever I started bodybuilding. They worked for me then. Still not really sure why I switched them out. But we're going back to them for good. And this is just one of those exercises that I just really love doing. Not that there's any that I don't love doing, but this one, I really had this. I was doing this at the beginning, and there's obviously a few movements that I cut out from the beginning of my bodybuilding journey. But I wanted to bring this one back in because I just feel such a deep stretch, on the biceps here, and just something about it that I like. I really, really like. So throwing it back in the routine. So we'll do one warm up set for each arm, and then we'll do two top sets to failure, finishing with partials within that 5 to 9 rep range. And as you guys will see, the adjustment from the first set for each arm to the second set for each arm is I'm not coming, all the way up to my shoulder. So on the second set, I made the adjustment to keep my elbow in the same place as best as I could and stay in that lengthened position. So what this will ultimately do is keep more tension on the bicep and honestly just give you more stimulation, which is what we want, while still focusing on getting that full deep stretch. All right, so a different variation of bicep curls because the ones where I stand up against the wall, um, I don't have my back completely up against it. So, if I were to slightly tweak my back, it would just make the injury that I'm dealing with even worse. So I didn't want to take that risk, and we just did cable curls with the straight bar here. Very similar movement to barbell curls, not much of a difference besides it's just with cables pretty much. And yeah, these felt really good. I think I could have gone a bit heavier, which I definitely could have, just based on how many reps that I got and the intensity of the reps. But I'm not sure. I mean, I'm gonna kind of feel out the standing up against the wall barbell curls next week. We'll see how the back and the hip flexors are doing, and if we can do them, we will. But if we have to keep this in the routine, I have no problem with that. But we did just one warm up set and then one top set to failure, finishing with partials within that 5 to 9 rep range. All right, so same kind of deal with the reverse curls. I'm not going to do them again. Not going to do them standing up against the wall. Instead, we'll do them with the straight bar with the cable again. And same routine here. One warm up set and then one top set to failure, finishing with partials within that 5 to 9 rep range. And yeah, that'll really do it. Past couple workouts, I have not done, the typical crunches that I will do on the Nautilus machine. I haven't been doing any core movements to where I'm leaning forward a lot with my upper body and really contracting. Not that I'm not contracting, but I've just been doing planks. I feel like that's been the safest ab exercise for me to do while dealing with this lower back and hip injury. So that's what I've been doing. I'm not going to show you guys, a minute-long plank. Not much to see there. It's pretty basic. So, all in all, pretty good workout. Had to make some adjustments, which we did, but still, got a lot of stimulation. Went as hard as we could, and definitely got a good bump too, which is always nice. But that'll do it for today, and I will see you guys next week for the 7th week of the fall cut. God bless.